Okay. Check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. We are live. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. We have a very significant subject that it is that we are going to be discussing in this today's video. And I absolutely think that this is something that is important to really understand, especially when it comes to our own awareness of how the nervous system functions and literally just how important it actually is and how we can better put ourselves in positions as well as in circumstances that are going to allow us to regulate our nervous systems. And for those of you that don't know, regulation of the nervous system is a very valuable state to get to because it feels good and it allows us to attract. Sorry, there's like a little gnat that's in my face. It allows us to attract certain things that are absolutely going to be important and valuable in our lives as a whole. So, with that being said, once again, we're going to be talking about nervous system regulation today, specifically co regulation. So, what exactly does co regulation look like? What exactly is co regulation? And how can we apply this in our everyday lives? And once again, why would we also want to be applying this in our lives? So, if this is something that you're wanting to learn a little bit more about, once again, I think that this is absolutely something that is very valuable to know more about. Then all you have to do is you have to do one thing, and that is simply to stay tuned. And I will see you on the other side. Okay, so here we are. So we are talking about co-regulation of the nervous system itself. All right. So co-regulation, what exactly is this? How exactly does it manifest? So, in our everyday lives, we find ourselves getting into circumstances as well as different situations that oftentimes can shift our nervous system into specific states that aren't always the healthiest states to be in absolutely long term. So, when it comes to the three main states of the nervous system, we have the green light, the yellow light, and the red light. Generally, this is going to be a vagal state. Then we have a sympathetic state, and then we have a dorsal state. So, it's basically shut down, fight or flight, survive, and then regulated connectedness. So, when we are in these lower states of the nervous system response for long periods of time, it causes a lot of problems in our life and it causes a lot of damage inside of ourself, like on an actual body level, but also as well as the things that we are truly manifesting in our lives as a whole. So there literally is more room for things to kind of be chaotic in our actual lives in a way that we don't know how to handle or in a way that we don't know how to process. Simply because, what is generally going on inside of the body in many ways is also manifesting itself in the world around us. So if you're dysregulated internally, guess what you can expect in your external reality? Dysregulation. Okay. So, what are we going to be discussing right now? So, we are discussing um, co-regulation. And what exactly is co-regulation? Co-regulation is the ability to regulate your nervous system with another person. So in other words, the way that this can show up is that, let's say hypothetically, you have a dysregulated nervous system and your nervous system is stuck in more so of a fight or flight response. Well, if you are to get in contact with someone who, let's say, is in a regulated state, they're in a vagal state, then there is an ability for that person's regulation to actually sync up with your nervous system and move it out of a fight or flight state and bring it into a state of regulation. So, this is exactly what co regulation looks like. And this is something that is absolutely important to understand, to better know how to utilize certain tools to be able to regulate and also have an understanding of why it's important to have relationships in your life. So there absolutely is value and there is importance when it comes to self regulation, learning how to create safety in your life, as well as honoring your body's sensations and emotions, which allows for that space of naturally occurring self regulation to happen. But if you really want to amplify the process, not only are you going to have that safety to self regulate, but you are also going to have specific relationships that are in place that allow you to co regulate with other people who have generally regulated nervous systems themselves. So, the reason why this is so powerful is one, because at a deep level, us as human beings, we're always looking to truly sync up with other humans. It is the nature of what it means to be human is to find experiences with other humans. Now, of course, we can get ourselves involved with other people that kind of lead us down a path that may not be the healthiest path for us. So we may experience other people that have dysregulated nervous systems, and that ability for the nervous system from one person to another can also transfer onto a person. So you can go from maybe a regulated state to a potential dysregulated state if you are around people with dysregulated nervous systems most of the time, or if you're actively engaging with them to an extent where they're able to pull your system down. Okay. So the value of once again having co-regulation occur is the fact that when you are in a relationship, whatever that manifests as, whether it's an intimate partnership or whether it's just a friendship of any sort, could be someone that you work with, who knows. When you're in a relationship where there is an aspect of co-regulation that occurs, oftentimes what that is going to look like is you and that other person generally are going to have an awareness on the importance of your own process when it comes to integration of repressed emotions in the nervous system. So basically, what I'm saying is both people are generally going to have an understanding that self love is important and there is going to be some form of an honoring of the process of integration itself as a whole. So, with that being said, what that does is it creates a unique type of relationship from you to this other person where there most often is going to be a lot more room for regulation to occur because both of you are honoring the process of self love and honoring the process of the emotional integration itself. So, what that means is there's more room for either of you to actually be regulated. So, for example, if you're going through, let's say, a rough circumstance or some challenging situations in your life that take you from a regulated state where you're used to being and then move you down into a more fight or flight response, then when you return back to this relationship that you have with this other person, you can almost count on them to some extent to be able to regulate you if that is something that they're able to do. Now, this can happen in vice versa. So it can happen the other way around. That other person could go through some circumstances in their life. Maybe they go on some sort of like vacation with family and the family's a little bit chaotic and they get a bit dysregulated. And then they come back and then you're the one that's regulated. You've had some time to kind of be with yourself and give yourself that form of self love that it is that you needed. And now you're able to co regulate the person who went on vacation so they can count on you to help bring their nervous system back up to a regulated state. Now, this is so powerful because what it does is it gives you an ability to have a deeper sense of trust within yourself and a deeper sense of trust in other people. And what it can also do is it can expand your capacity. So, everything when it comes down to nervous system regulation is generally going to be rooted in creating safety. So I want you to have the understanding of what safety actually is. Safety is when you feel like things are okay. Okay. I don't mean safe as in I've got to make sure the environment's always safe, uh, keeping it, keeping myself safe from potential threats or dangers that could be in my environment. It doesn't have anything to do with like micromanaging being safe. It's just about creating space with environments and relationships that allow us to feel safe inside of ourselves. So if I'm involved in toxic environments or relationships, then that would be something that is not safe because there's probably going to be a lot of triggers that I go through that I'm not able to necessarily come out of until I create safety, until I create boundaries. So, safety itself, once again, is the backbone of how the nervous system naturally is going to be traveling up the polyvagal ladder, going from the red state to the yellow to the green state. So, when we have co regulation in our lives, what this means is we have friends or we have family or we have partners that we can actually rely on to some extent to allow us a sense of regulation when times can get hard outside of those relationships. So, what that does, once again, is it creates a deeper sense of safety inside of itself because you realize I can sort of step out into the world, I can take more risks, I can have a larger capacity to take on more stress. And then when I reach that threshold, I can connect with this friend, this partner, or this family member that I know I have co regulation with, so that if things get overwhelming and I lose a bit of my regulation, then I can get re regulated in this relationship because I trust this person and I trust that that's what we're able to do with each other in regards to our ability to communicate and our ability to be vulnerable and to support each other on a deep, loving level. Okay. So that is the power of what co regulation is. And this is absolutely something that all of you who are listening to this right now should be taking advantage of to your best ability as you're going through your spiritual self development and your soul's development as a whole. So if you're the type of person that thinks being a lone wolf and never connecting with other people is the best route to take, then that is something that I highly encourage you to start changing your mind on so that you can actually understand the power of what co regulation has to offer. Now, on that same subject, for those of you that are the lone wolves, if you don't see it, I have a wolf tattooed on my arm. I know what it's like to be a lone wolf. I get it. And I can also understand the importance of, at times, solitude. Okay. There is absolutely importance in solitude, especially when it comes to creating large amounts of safety within the self. That's usually kind of the first steps we have to take is kind of refraining back from a lot of things, refraining back from a lot of relationships and a lot of environments to be in solitude with ourselves so that then we can start developing this sense of safety in ourselves that then allows our nervous system to regulate more and more and more to the point where then we can step back out and have more willingness to connect with other people and more ability even to attract healthier types of people to us that actually are going to be safe. Okay. Because once again, if we're coming from a dysregulated space, probably a lot of our relationships and environments that we're most often finding ourselves gravitating towards, usually are probably not going to be so safe. They're not going to be so regulated. Doesn't mean for sure, but probably that's going to be the case. So, with that being said, we want to be aware of this and we want to take this into account. Now, what does this mean? Let me explain this to a deeper degree as well. So when we are allowing ourselves to go from a dysregulated state, for example, the fight or flight response, into more of a regulated response, it is important to understand, how deep are you in that nervous system state? Because when you're in a state of a deep fight or flight, which is a survival energy, it's a protection energy, which means you're going to have a bunch of defensive mechanisms up. And generally, you're going to have a bunch of parts of yourself that are coming through to try to protect you from potential threats, whether it's actually there or if it's something that just is reminding you of something in the past because it's stored in your nervous system still on an emotional level. So When that's happening, when you're really deep in a defensive state like that, you're probably going to perceive other people as threats. So you're probably not going to really be able to even interact or socialize with other people because your body's responding in a certain way that is not allowing that to naturally happen. That is okay. Okay. When I say co regulation is powerful and it's important, it doesn't mean forcing your body to do something that it's not even capable of doing, but it also doesn't mean shutting yourself off from something because you're afraid that other people are just going to take advantage of you and you think it's better to isolate and then, you know, create an idea that everyone's evil. All right. So there's a balance with this, and it comes down to the state of your nervous system. So if you are in a deep survival state, yes, it is going to be harder to connect with other humans. And your natural response will probably be to protect you from other humans, to create a sense of safety for yourself, and to be self-aware of this state that you might be in, and to honor the body's natural response of what it's trying to do, and have the acceptance for why it's doing what it's doing and letting it be what it is. If you can do that while also tuning into the sensation and emotion within your body that is connected to this defensive state or connected to being in this fight or flight response, then, and once again, if you pair this with safety, so connecting to the sensation, emotion while pairing with safety, you will naturally start to re regulate out of the depth of this defensive state. So you will start to regulate out of that intense survival state. And then there will come a time where you might have an urge to actually connect with other people again and be able to communicate and have open conversation and see things from a different lens, not necessarily that strict survival space. All right. So this is important to know because there are some people that are really deep in their survival states and they have created an identity with that state because that state, in many ways, can also be connected to certain fragmentation in the psyche, which is parts, and people identify with certain parts of themselves that are embedded within these different nervous system states and they attach to it and they think that's who they are in regards to their entire being. They call this the I. They think it's their identity. When in reality, it's only one fragment of their being, and there are many other fragments that are there. And the soul and the spirit at its core isn't even a fragment. It is just what it is. It is just presence. And that would exist more in regulation. So, with that being said, to the depth that you're in this survival state, it is going to be harder to connect with other people, but you want to understand that that is okay. It's natural to not be able to connect with other people when you're in a deep survival response. So honoring that and letting it be what it is while applying, feeling the emotions and the body sensations, it's freaking gnat. And then at the same time creating that safety, then you're naturally going to start traveling up that polyvagal ladder, moving into more regulation, where eventually you can trust your body will be able to connect with other humans. And it will take some time and it will take some patience and it will take embracing what it is that you're truly feeling sensationally and emotionally with acceptance, letting it come through, not trying to repress it, not trying to psych yourself out and say, I shouldn't be feeling this, or why can't I connect with other people? Accepting it for what it is, and then trusting that you will re regulate as you're processing with the safety. And then you can start connecting with other humans. And then that is absolutely where we want to allow ourselves to get to in regards to our understanding of the importance of relationships. So we want to understand having relationships that are based in nervous system regulation, meaning conscious relationships where you're choosing to be friends with, or you're just naturally attracting people that you're already aware of, are honoring their own process of self development so that you can have that space where there is a lot of different parallels between you and that person that you can learn from on a knowledge level, but you can also regulate with on a nervous system level. And that is the value of co regulation. So, the most powerful people on the planet right now, as we speak, are going to have social circles where the members within the social circles are actively aware of their own process of self-love and self-development, and there is the factor of co-regulation. And you can have co-regulation within an entire community of other people. So you can imagine having a group of people, let's say 30 people, that all are working towards nervous system regulation. If you are involved with this community and then you step out into your everyday life and a lot of crazy stress comes at you and it dysregulates you, you can almost guarantee when you get back involved with this regulated community, your nervous system is going to sync back up with everyone else in that group and it is going to regulate itself. Now, this component of how nervous systems are able to co regulate and to transfer and sync up also is energetic in its nature. Largely, I mean, that's the root of it. Before the nervous system, it's actually energetic. So this is where the energy body comes into play and the energy field. So you can imagine people that are taking their self-development seriously, they have certain types of energetic resonance, energy bodies that are allowing themselves to experience the flow state, the regulated state. And that travels that energy in motion, emotions travel through the nerves, the nervous system, and that's what allows for states of regulation. And that is also what is transferring from one person to the next so that co regulation can occur. All right. So, hopefully, from this video, this is what you can take away. Co regulation is extremely valuable. Open yourself up to relationships, allow yourself to get curious in regards to your own process and how your process can also parallel with other people's process and how you can get to a point where you can trust and rely on other people to have an ability to also regulate your own system. Now, it doesn't mean that you always rely or you always expect them to do that. It just means that there's an ability to live your life in a way where you can trust that and you can have a sense of reliance on it. But also, if they can't do that, if they're in a dysregulated state and you're in a dysregulated state, that's life. So there may be times where that co-regulation doesn't occur, but damn it's damn sure awesome to have friendships where when you're dysregulated and you call them naturally, they can co-regulate you back to a regulated state and it feels really good. So oftentimes, just to give you an example of what this feels like and what this looks like when it takes place, is first thing you kind of want to understand is you want to have a little bit of self-awareness on which nervous system state that you might be in. So once you can kind of connect to, okay, I feel like I might be in a fight or flight response right now. This is where my nervous system's at. Then you have kind of the baseline of where you actually are, which is important to recognize as it shifts. So check in with yourself, do a body scan, try to understand where you are in the present moment, and try to do this throughout the day if you can. I think that would be a very valuable tool to take advantage of. Then, once you've done that, then what you can do when you're in the process of co regulating is you can just check in with yourself while you're communicating with this other person, or you can just be aware of your sensations. And usually this is something that naturally occurs when co-regulation is happening, where you'll just be talking to someone who is regulated and you may be kind of in a more defensive state where there's a little bit more of a defensiveness or a little bit more, once again, of that survival energy. And the next thing you know, as you're talking to this person, it just feels like an entire weight was just taken off your shoulders. It feels like this density or this heaviness in your body just kind of lifts itself up. Okay. You go from having thoughts that are kind of like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to control this. And then your thoughts kind of clear, things get lighter, right? You go from kind of maybe having a strong sense of anger or frustration or maybe deep sadness and loneliness. And then it just kind of clears itself and you start feeling a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more present, uh, a little bit more peaceful and calm. All right. So when you're in a process where you're going into co-regulation with another person, this is what it actually feels like and this is what it looks like. I've experienced it many times and it's really awesome every single time it happens where it's like I go into a conversation where I'm a little bit more in a survival energy because maybe I'm processing some really deep trauma and it's a little bit more than what my capacity has the ability to experience. And then it shifts me from regulation into the sympathetic state. And then I'm conversating with a friend who's a little bit more regulated in that moment. And the next thing you know, by the time I'm done talking to them, I'm feeling like I'm back in a regulated state and things are calm again. Things have slowed down and I feel more present. Okay. So that is the power, once again, of co regulation. This is so important to understand. Do not throw this out the window. This is important. Allow yourself to take advantage of it. That is going to wrap this video up for today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you feel like you gained value from this, hit the thumbs up button. That lets me know that you just gained value from this. Come down here, hit the notification bell. Make sure you're getting notified whenever I post this content because clearly there is a lot of valuable content that it is that I'm posting, and you do not want to miss out. Drop down in the this fucking gnat. I'm gonna kill that thing. If I see that gnat again, I'm gonna kill it. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know exactly what it is that you learned from this video. I would love to hear your personal perspective on that. So definitely, once again, make sure you drop down, go in the comments, let me know what you learned, and let me know maybe what some of your experiences are with co-regulation itself. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. When you subscribe, you are further energetically linking in to everything it is that I'm teaching. So there really is a very valuable component. I think I killed it. There's a very valuable component to allowing yourself to subscribe and get that deeper energetic connection. I definitely think I just killed that gnat. So yeah, so that is what that is. And then if you have any friends or family on that subject of co-regulation or social media platforms that are going to gain value from this information, feel free. I encourage you to share this link with them. Okay, send this information out to that type of person if someone just came to your mind right when I said that. Definitely take advantage of it. Now, I'm going to take your awareness to literally the most important link within the entire description itself. This is the first link. Okay. This is the Patreon. Now, on the Patreon, I have 260 plus exclusive videos that are all listed in different collection sections, all organized content that I have put a lot of time and energy into that goes into depth with really deep occult knowledge, ritualistic practices of occultism that I perform and teach, nervous system regulation, education on trauma, how to create a healthy foundation in your life, and initiation with Kabbalah and the whole education that you need to have to really understand that process. All of this important stuff that is literally the most important things to know about when it comes to real self development. This is what you're going to find on my Patreon. There is over 750 members on the Patreon. That is a lot of fucking people. If you're not on the Patreon, get your ass over to the Patreon. Okay, do yourself that favor. Now, as you move into tier number 3 and tier number 4, this is where you're gaining access to. Oh no, I think the gnat's back. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't. I don't know. I'm gonna get it though. As you're moving into tier 3 and tier 4, you are gaining access to a ritualistic service that I perform on my collective consciousness. This is the only ritual service that I offer for the public in general. This is a very powerful ritual. And I need to start by saying it's not for everyone. This is for people that are really willing to do the deeper integration work, as well as the people that are in resonance with the darker aspects of spiritual self development. Now, if that's you, then this service is absolutely for you. So this is a service called the Universe B Vampire Service. So this is an energetic transfer from me to you to help support you through the processing of your deep repressed negative emotions in your nervous system, as well as traveling down to some of the deepest aspects of your subconscious and your unconscious mind to bring these things up so that you can be aware of them and go through the integration process. Now, I'm also changing the energy body on the participant very significantly to spin more so in a counterclockwise direction, which puts the energy field of that participant in resonance with the black hole that exists within our galaxy. This is where that universe B vampiric component comes from because this is a very magnetizing energy. It's very absorbing. So, what this does is it gives you the ability to better integrate and work with and process darker matter energies as well as chaos itself, and then integrate into your own authenticity and potential. Now, within time, what you can also do is you can actually pull energy out of other people, specifically the false self. You can pull the false self out of another person, energetically speaking, use it to your own advantage while simultaneously leaving that person in a position where they now have to face their own repressed negative emotions in their nervous systems so that they get to go through their own healing process and working with themselves. So, this is a win win experience here. And this is a very taboo form of occultism that not a lot of people are actually aware of and truly not everyone is supposed to be a part of. So once again, if this is something that truly resonates with you, definitely look into it. Um, there are over 280 members that are actively participating in this ritualistic service every single month, and it is performed on the 29th of every single month. Every single month on the 29th. The deadline to sign up is the day before, so that's the 28th. So if you sign up anytime before them, you are included into the ritualistic service. And if you are consistently a top tier member, tier 3 or 4, you are getting added into every single ritual, every single time it's performed. And you are getting an energetic streamline that is supporting you through your development process, specifically with these darker aspects of spiritual growth. All right. This is something I'm very passionate about. I've been doing this for over 4 years now, and there is tons of valuable feedback that I get from people that receive it in regards to how their lives are shifting. And this is real occult science. I don't play around when it comes to this stuff. And I have the feedback to show how real this actually is. So if this is something you're interested, look into it. All of this is in that first link below, the Patreon. Go ahead and check it out. We'll leave it there. Second link below is where you can book a one-on-one call with me, or you can book a mentorship with me. This is also something I'm very, very passionate about and I take very seriously. This is the most intimate way to personally work with me, where we are going to be working on building a healthy foundation for you, properly educating you on what's going on when it comes to emotional processing, regulation of the nervous system, and also things in regards to occultism and spirituality. After we get the foundation in place and we have some regulation going on within the nervous system, then we start to transition into the occult side of things if that's something you're interested in when it comes to initiation. All right. If you want to take advantage of the mentorships, definitely look into it. I've got a bunch of mentorships currently going on. So just book with me and then I will reach out to you and we will find time to fit you in and get the mentorship going. Okay. So that is in the second link below. Now, in that same second link below, you also have an option to book a tarot card reading with Alexia. She is a very gifted tarot card reader. Okay. She can pinpoint where you are right now, what you're experiencing, why you're experiencing it, what to expect, and then what's about to happen in your near future as you are transitioning into that. She also can connect these things back to the Kabbalistic tree to give you the correspondences on the tree of life, okay, or the Qlippoth. So if this is something that you're in resonance with, look into it. That same second link below is where you can book this reading with Alexia. Third link below is what is known as the LUCIFERS Foundation course. This is a very powerful course that gives you step-by-step instructions on how to develop a healthy relationship with the energy that is known as Lucifer. Tons of people have purchased the course. People are continuously buying it literally every single day at this point. If you are wanting to take advantage of it, look into it. It is that third link below. Fourth link below is the YouTube memberships. So in the YouTube memberships, this is where you are able to join into the family, join into the community of like-minded individuals. And it's just always nice to have like a family of people. I always love being able to like see my community and see a group of people that are just familiar faces and just have that sense of connectedness within the whole group. So that is probably the biggest value of being a YouTube member, getting the name appearing as green and having the little badge next to your name and seeing the other members. But then, of course, there are other benefits you're also gaining access to. So if that's what you're interested in, look into it. It's the fourth link below. Fifth link below is where you can purchase the book recommendations that I have for you. It is a 4 ebook bundle that you gain instant access to for the rest of your life that gives you everything you need to know on the different spirits, from angels to demons, the initiatory side of things when it comes to the tree of life, the tree of death, 22 paths on the tree, both the tunnels of Set and the archetypes, and as well as understanding um the nature of how all these things truly come together and why they're important to understand. So it's taking this very valuable understanding and knowledge that you actually can find in a lot of these other occult books, but it's bringing it all in one area, and it's breaking it down in a way that is so much easier to actually read and digest. And I think that's another one of the most valuable components to this 4 ebook bundle. So if this is something that you want to take advantage of, look into it. It is the fourth link in this YouTube description. Okay. Excuse me, fourth link, fifth link in the YouTube description. This ebook, this 4 ebook bundle. So with that being said, if that's something that you want to take advantage of, definitely do it. We're going to wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate all of you very, very, very much. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day or night, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.